All right, let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Crypto World Radio. My name is Wabi, and if you're new to the Because Bitcoin Spaces and you come from the sailors over from Say Network, feel free to share the space. If you're in the space and you want more people to learn what Say Network is over the next 45 minutes, feel free to share the space and all that good stuff so we can get people piled in and come up to ask questions and all that good stuff. And just as a reminder, this space will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel after we conclude. And today we're just here to talk shop and speak about Say and see what they're all about. So without further ado, I want to welcome all of you gentlemen up to the stage. And how are you guys today, Grover and B Fitty? How are you guys today? Good to have you up here.
Yeah, great to be here, sir. Great to be here. My name's Grover. I am the head of ecosystem here at Say Labs, and I've been working with the team for a few months now. Most recently, I was working on a project actually building on Say called Vortex, and that was acquired by SushiSwap. So as part of that deal, I joined the Say core team. So I'm now looking after all things ecosystem, which teams are launching and when mainnet and how to get users and keep them. So really great to come here and chat with you guys.
Similarly, it's a real pleasure to meet all of you, and big shout out to all the members of the audience as well. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Brian. I'm on the growth and partnerships team here at Say. A big part of what I do here is a lot of the marketing campaigns, a lot of testnet kind of materials. So if you guys have questions, concerns there, feel free to ping me as well. But yeah, really looking forward to sharing everything that we've built. I think that we've had really hectic past 2 weeks at Say with Atlantic 2's launch and just a bunch of programs that we're rolling out right now. But yeah, looking forward to going over all of that in this space.
Awesome, man. So, being that you guys are from the team, what are some of the backgrounds of all the other team members? And at the current moment, how many folks are there included in your team?
Yep. So in total, there's 19 people on the team in Say Labs. So 9 of those are engineers, mainly Databricks, sort of Robinhood, sort of Silicon Valley backgrounds. So really know their stuff about distributed systems and how to get shipped software. And then on the growth team, there's 10 of us, where we've got a good mix of guys. I guess like degens like myself, who are sort of well into the Cosmos ecosystem. And guys like Jeff, the co-founder, who's more got some experience from the TradFi side, from Goldman, Couture. So a good mix, and that's the size of the team as things stand.
Awesome, man. I know one of the co-founders, Jay, came from Robinhood. And I was listening to a prior space that he was in, and he was alluding to the fact that Say Network, it's going to become the infrastructure for exchanges in the sense that, within the next 2, 3, 4 years, Say Network is going to be collaborating with many DEXs across the board and helping facilitate the front end of the whole experience where you're going to have scalability, decentralization, and capital efficiency. So I wanted to know from B Fitty, can you give us a bit more into detail on what Say Network is and also how Say Network will be facilitating these features across all of DeFi and crypto?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first thing I want to touch on, and what you mentioned there with Jay, is that a big part of Jay's background, like you said, is him kind of working at Robinhood. And I think that the core focus of this story, of this parable of sorts, is that current on-chain apps and current on-chain exchanges, off-chain apps and off-chain exchanges are very censorable. And when he talked about sort of the GameStop saga, when Robinhood shut off buys and how sort of duplicitous that was and how that kind of affected market sentiment and really, spread bad will, just amongst traders and individuals involved. That really was like a really clear use case of why we need, on-chain exchanges and on-chain apps, right? That's just a matter of censorability. That's just a matter of transparency. So I think that's a big thing that we try to touch upon and build on here at Say. But really, I'd say, the core problem that we've kind of noticed is that, or the core thing that we've noticed in crypto is that all liquidity and all value really tends to flow back to exchanges, right? This occurs in Ethereum, this occurs in Solana, this occurs in Avalanche, and it's not just about DeFi. It's also a big part of gaming. It's also a huge part of NFTs. We see that with StepN Stacks, we see that on Axie, we see that in OpenSea. So really, what we've noticed so far is just that most liquidity and most trade volume flows around exchanges. So the obvious question that we ask ourselves here is just how does that scale? How does this, appear on chain, and how does this work moving forward for everyone to be able to work and trade efficiently, here at Say, or just in crypto in general? And the thing there is that currently exchanges can't scale on chain. They simply don't have the throughput, they don't have the latency, and we don't have sufficient infrastructure to make that user experience as comparable to your Binances, your Coinbases, even your Huobi's. So then the question there is, how do we solve this problem? How do we sort of create infrastructure that really allows a comparable user experience and a seamless user experience on chain? So Say is aiming to solve that. Say is creating the first sector-specific L1, and we've optimized every part of our stack around that core value proposition. So ultimately, what we're trying to do here is that regardless of the type of exchange you're building, your exchange is going to run better on Say. So we really believe that on-chain trading is going to gather around a couple of hotspots, right? Like we mentioned in equities and stocks, and it's happened in centralized exchanges as well. So Say really sees itself as the destinations for on-chain trading globally across digital assets. In terms of traction there, just to speak a little bit about what we've done, what we've built, we have over 1 million unique users on testnet right now. We've had over 40 million transactions, and we have over 120 ecosystem projects building on Say, with over 70 of those teams already having announced. So I think it's pretty safe to say at this point that we're seeing pretty significant attraction in terms of both users and builders on Say. And yeah, currently we have the largest ecosystem in Cosmos, and we're still in testnet. So we're really excited that so many people sort of believe in the project and are starting to work with us and really build out this ecosystem that we've been envisioning for months and months now. So yeah, I think that's really Say in a nutshell so far.
So on the topic of things like equities and markets like that, Grover, being that you kind of oversee all the inner developments going on at the moment within Say Network, what sort of markets would Say be able to facilitate? Perhaps something like a better efficient version of Synthetics Network, right? Sorry, sorry about that, guys. Guys, are you guys able to hear me? I just got a call at the moment, and I kind of bugged. You gentlemen able to hear me?
Would you mind repeating the question just once?
Yeah. I got a call. I think I rugged right there, but the oh wait, Grover just dropped. Hold on, guys. Technical difficulties. Mr. Producer, can you bring up Grover? Send him a request to speak on your end, and also bring up Michael. And also bring up Feel Pain as well. Give it a minute, guys. Sorry, some technical difficulties. Twitter at the current moment is going through a test net of a test net.
Yeah, these are peak space hours.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I couldn't hear anyone, so dropped off and came back again.
All right. Just for the listeners, would you mind repeating your question once more, Wabi, and then Grover can get to that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see everyone in here now. Yeah, so my question was, given that now we're talking about like other markets like equities and things like that, Grover, since you are sort of the overseer of the inner workings and the ecosystem within Say, what sort of markets can be built on Say? Would there be a possibility of a more efficient synthetics network, or perhaps something akin to Mirror Protocol, where you were able to sort of like play the options market and things of that nature?
Yeah, so I think with all these things, because we're providing that infrastructure or order matching engine, so we've optimized the entire stack to suit any kind of exchange. For sure, yeah, we have a ton of different teams that are building on top of Say. I know of Synthetics Protocols building here, guys building up perps, GMX style perps, order book style perps as well, margin trading, all kinds of different applications that are using Say's infrastructure. But yeah, for sure, just to reiterate, we just build out the infrastructure. There's no specific front end that we'll provide. I like how you brought up Mirror Protocol, the one most subpoenaed app in existence, Wabi. But that whole line of synthetics and being able to trade interesting assets is definitely something that you'll be able to do on Say.
Yeah, something I really quickly want to mention here is that what we found is that you can build a slow app on a fast chain, but you cannot build a fast app on a slow chain. So really, Say's performance at this point allows the majority of all apps to be built upon it. And we really do believe that a lot of apps do benefit from having, almost almost instant time to finality, and just having that kind of like quick throughput and quick infrastructure. So yeah, to kind of answer your question there and to kind of reiterate what Grover has said here is just that Say really allows for all types of exchanges to be built up, and it's not just synthetic type protocols, and it's not just perpetual, dexes. It's really just any kind of exchange, that you can imagine. We want you to be able to build it.
So, Brian, how is Say optimized for exchanges? I know you guys have something like an order matching module and things like that, like frequent batch auctioning, which combats negative MEV, more of like on the technical side. If you want to get into that, feel free to do so. Or Grover, each one of you gentlemen.
All right. So there's quite a bit to go over here. Maybe Grover and I will take turns, but just to start with, let's talk about the order matching module. So I'd say something that we've built as a primitive on chain is the order matching module. And this really aims to allow exchanges to be spun up, as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Our hope is that as long as you can specify what type of assets you're using and what type of markets that you're trying to create, you'll be able to have your order book up and running, as fast as possible, hopefully, even day of. On top of that, what we've built as well is different types of parallelization on chain. So I think before I dive into that, let's just talk about Say's twin turbo consensus. So Say is built as an IBC chain. We're built on top of a modified version of Tendermint that we sort of created for our chain. And the twin turbo consensus consists of intelligent block propagation and also, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank right here. George? Intelligent block propagation.
Optimistic block processing.
Optimistic block processing. I'm so sorry. So in terms of intelligent block propagation, what we've done there is just to basically, we've essentially compressed block proposals by hashing transactions instead of detailing every single transaction there. So you can think of it as a form of compression for each block that still allows validators to vote on blocks and verify transactions on chain, but we're able to do more of those blocks more frequently. In terms of optimistic block processing, you can think of that as, let's say you'd like to cook dinner, right? Cooking dinner typically requires you to cook a set of ingredients in a specific set of, in a specific number of steps, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say in a perfect sequence. One of the things that you might do is that, let's say you're having a rice dish, you might put the rice in the rice cooker first. You know that that's going to take 30 minutes. Cool. I'm going to do that in the prep time for the other ingredients. Essentially, what Say is doing with optimistic block processing is very similar to that. We know that the block processing step takes quite a bit of time in order to finalize on chain. So while we're voting, while we're committing, we're going to actually run the processing in the background. And once that's ready, that sort of, how do I say this? That enters a candidate state. And once the voting is approved, we simply put that on chain. So this is a lot faster than cooking your dinner and then cooking your rice. Instead, we have the rice on the side while the dinner is being cooked so we can serve them at the same time. So that's really a really kind of neat analogy for how I would explain optimistic block processing. And I think the final thing I want to touch on here is frequent batch auctioning, because that's another sort of innovation that we've put onto chain. So really, this is to help combat negative MEV. And what we'll have is uniform clearing prices for all orders within a block. And this helps to combat a lot of front running and basically, makes the chain a lot more efficient and a lot less predatory for users and traders. I'm going to open things up here. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, George, but otherwise, thank you.
So I think, so all these optimizations that we're making to the chain, we took Tendermint and like that's a time-tested sort of battle-worn consensus bit of architecture, and it's sort of proven in Terra that can withstand some pretty heavy duty. So rather than sort of like, we obviously want to optimize the stack, but we don't want to reinvent the wheel where it's already been solved pretty well. But there's just a few amendments we wanted to make to Tendermint to make it faster. So that's just like an overview of some of those. The one thing we didn't touch on, I think, is intelligent block propagation, which is one of the harder ones to sort of explain. But there's probably a nice analogy for this, which is, let's say you have two people, Alice and Bob, and both of them like to read. One day, Alice reads a book she likes, which is something like Harry Potter, and both of them have these libraries in their house. So imagine you have Alice and Bob, a library in their house. Alice reads the book she likes, Harry Potter. She wants to tell Bob, hey, you should read this book as well. So either she can say, I'll give you this book tomorrow. So he has to wait a whole day before he can read it. Or she can text him and he can immediately start reading that book. So obviously the approach where you text and find the book in your own library is much faster. So Tendermint originally was using the other approach, which is where Alice would take the book to school the next day. And so what this means in practice, in a block proposal message that say sends, there will be a list of transaction hashes, and that gets sent over the network. So validators look in their local mempool rather than waiting for a block from a block proposer. So each validator checks their local mempool, and if they do, they can construct that block locally rather than wait for the block proposal. And that's given something like a 45% improvement in performance over base Tendermint. So like this is the kind of changes that we're making to the consensus level itself, just to speed up the entire sort of consensus piece between validators.
Grover, that sounded amazing, man. I truly thought you were going to say Alice in Wonderland there. You took me for a spin. But I see we have Payne up on the panel now. That's what I was saying, guys, that like, currently at the moment, if you're trying to come up to speak or even join the link, apparently there's some technical issue. But Payne, buddy, can you hear us, brother?
Yes, sir. How you doing, brother? Sorry, I was having an issue at first with the audio, but should be all good now. But yeah, I was curious as to like what kind of ecosystem is Say like trying to build. Is it more so is it more so something that's like trying to just be a competitor to everything else, or is it trying to do its own thing? And is what does it mean for the speed and throughput we can expect from Say? And what does this mean for the user experience?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe I'll take the first part and Brian wants to cover it at the end. So I guess like what kind of ecosystem? So all of our, I guess the focus of our sort of marketing efforts through the summer was certainly around DeFi. But it became more and more apparent to us that NFTs are always super important in the crypto space as well. And really, if you're optimizing a blockchain for exchange, OpenSea is an exchange, Blur is an exchange. So for sure, like all of these things will find a home on Say, and NFT marketplaces will find a home on Say as well. The majority of sort of the applications we're seeing launching on testnet right now are somewhat DeFi centric. So things like liquid staking, lending, perps exchanges, just simple AMMs. We've got guys building out concentrated liquidity on Cosmos as well, which is something, which I think we're trying to make some concerted effort to catch up with some of the stuff that's being built on the Ethereum ecosystem as well. That doesn't exist on Cosmos just yet, like Curve V2 style concentrated liquidity. But then also, like NFT exchanges, marketplaces, and we've got some ideas of how we can get these NFT communities to sort of pivot and find new use cases and really kind of like mix things up. There are a lot of use cases in DeFi for NFTs as well. It's not exclusively just profile pictures, although profile pictures are very cool. There can be vested token positions that are represented by an NFT. You can trade those on an exchange. There's one project working on that right now. So you would, for example, have it's almost like an options marketplace where you can buy and sell vested token positions, which I think is really cool. So say you take part
That's super cool.
Yeah, like if you take part in
I've never heard of that before.
Public sale or something like that, and you don't want to okay, well, you've got tokens vesting to you for 2 years at this sort of rate, and then whatever your entry price was. Well, now that there's a market value to that NFT, which contains all the tokens which are vesting to you. So yeah, like on-chain ID as well. Got teams looking after that, and that takes some people would say it's kind of at odds with having like permissionless open DeFi, but for some teams, that's what they want. They want to have some kind of proof of personhood on chain as well to sort of roll out the business model they want. So yeah, just like a ton of different things, and really kind of, I think the point would be that for sure we've got a huge ecosystem building right here. There's just like a ton of teams, a ton of interest, and yeah, looking forward to see what happens around mainnet.
Awesome. So real quick here, I just wanted to touch on, I guess, the user experience portion. And I think that a lot of people are thinking like, okay, now that I'm using Say as a user, what's going to happen? Are my transactions going to post faster? Am I going to have a drastically different user experience just in terms of infrastructure alone? And I think that while it's a lot faster, what you'll really notice is not so much that your user experience in terms of what you're able to do changes a huge amount, but really what you're able to build and the protocols available to you will change like drastically. So we're really trying to have an on-chain user experience that's comparable to that of a centralized exchange running on a centralized server, right? We're really trying to enable fully on-chain exchanges here. So what this means in practice is really that we're allowing both builders and institutions to get involved in a more legitimate way. So in terms of market making, we can expect tighter spreads, we can expect deeper liquidity. In terms of just maintaining order books, that's quicker posting of orders, faster order execution, and really, a lot of these products that haven't existed on chain or haven't existed fully on chain, but still run, on let's say Starkware nodes or some kind of sequencer, some kind of like layer 2 rollup, now will all be running on a base layer on chain. So this is sort of bringing instruments and user experiences that already exist in the real world and really implementing them in a feasible and a sustainable way in Web3. So that's essentially how the user experience is going to change there.
So, Brian, to follow up on what you just said, what is Say's more longer term vision, and how does that fit into the future of finance?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that really what we're looking to do at Say is to become a global, decentralized payments infrastructure, right? So I mentioned earlier that we want to be the destination for all on-chain trading across any digital asset. So in the short term, what that means is definitely having a whole host of exchanges and a whole host of protocols that exist on Say that are able to, trade with us across all types of assets and instruments. But I think in the long term, and especially the multi-chain kind of vision, the multi-chain future, we should hope that trades would be routed through Say. I don't think that you necessarily have to be on Say in order to trade with us and in order to experience the kind of execution speed or seamless user interface that we've created. But in the future, hopefully that anywhere that you're trading, trades might just be routed through Say because it's faster, because it's cheaper, because it's more efficient. And I think that's like the true, like hopeful, like 5-year plan for us. But in the short term, it's really just about creating the best infrastructure for exchanges and enabling all kinds of trading to exist fully on chain.
And what's the current status of Say at the current moment? When launch? When launch, brother?
Yeah, I don't know, Brian, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I'll just start with when launch. Externally, we're going with Q2. So you guys can expect us sometime in May to June. That's when we are hoping for a mainnet launch, and that's also going to be with token. So token generation event will occur concurrently with our main launch or mainnet launch. In terms of where we're at right now, so like I mentioned earlier, we have over 1 million unique users on testnet. We have over 40 million transactions, and we've just pushed Atlantic 2, which is the final version of Say's testnet. And it actually adds in a lot of the innovations that we spoke about earlier in terms of parallelization, in terms of intelligent block processing, or intelligent block propagation and optimistic block processing. So all those things have just been implemented on chain. And to kind of drive things one step further, we have also just launched a Say's Sunken Treasure NFT campaign. This is a loot box style campaign that's focused around gifting. You can't gift the treasures to yourself, but you can give them to your friends. So go in the Say community, make some friends, and also get some treasures along the way. This is still currently in the gifting phase. We'll have a whole opening or unboxing phase in about 8 days' time, where you can see the rarity of your treasures. So there's a sense of competition there. Yeah, outside of that, I would say we're also having a really great ambassador program here at Say. We have over 3,000 ambassadors now that really help to educate the community, help to put out great content, and also help people to build their careers in Web3. So I think that's a nice summary of I guess, where we're at right now in terms of what we're building and what we're heading towards.
And speaking about community, Grover, and as well as yourself, B Fitty, how can us as a community get involved with you guys today, and how can we help better support you guys at Say as a whole? I know you guys have an entire ecosystem being fleshed out, and at the current moment, it's still very, 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 very relatively early.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you want to get involved in a more meaningful way, then if you hop over to our Discord, you can join the ambassador program, and there's a ton of instructions and sort of like specific things we're looking for there, and you can sort of level up, and it's a bit of a gamified thing going on. So for sure, go and check out the ambassador program. Obviously, like, follow us along here. There's going to be more testnet missions coming out pretty soon. We are running an incentivized testnet, so there's going to be some kind of reason for you to want to get involved with testnet later on. So that's also worth considering, including, there's going to be a bunch of protocols launching over the next 3 to 4 weeks, and sort of showcasing them one by one as they roll out, with points associated with things that you do with those protocols. And I'll leave that to your imagination.
I love
Yeah,
imagination.
just to add a little bit of clarity there, not to take away from any of the imagination, of course, but yeah, we've just concluded Atlantic 1's testnet, like I mentioned before, and with Atlantic 2, we'll be rolling out a whole host of missions. So if you're interested in getting more involved with Say, and you're interested in getting tokens, we've actually allocated 1% of our total token supply to testnet mission rewards. So I think that's one of the best ways that you can really get a feel for what we're building, get some skin in the game, and have some fun along the way. So do check out Say, do check out Atlantic 2. Grover and I have put a lot of love and work into the testnet, and we hope that you enjoy it as much as we hope you will. Yeah.
I'm an enjoyer, man, and I'm looking forward to becoming a sailor. I'm truly looking forward to becoming a sailor, man, and kind of being like a captain of a crew. Payne, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, B Fitty, what's your favorite feature from the new testnet?
So, I mean, it's exactly what I mentioned before in terms of a lot of the innovations that we baked into the chain. So for Atlantic 1, we did not have, market-based parallelization of orders. We did not have intelligent block propagation and stuff like that. I'm a bit of a tech nerd. I did a CS degree in college, so I actually really care about the innovations that go onto chain. And no kidding, I think one of the biggest joys in working in this job and working in this industry is that we're kind of standing at the forefront of distributed systems. I don't know how academic like the average audience member is or the average trader or retail user is, but this is some groundbreaking stuff that like all the teams are building, not just Say. I'd say that anyone that's working on like a true layer one and is thinking about scaling, efficiency, and optimization is, yeah, basically working on some of the hardest and most interesting CS problems there are. So yeah, I think that's my favorite part. What's changed recently, I just love the innovations that we added on chain. And if you'd like to learn more about these, feel free to check out our white paper. And we've also have a lot of threads both on Say's account and on our co-founder Jay's account on Twitter that kind of break down what exactly you built at Say and how it works.
All right, cool. Is there anything else that you guys want to point out or share before we switch over to the community for questions? I do see some speaker requests here, but before that, if there's anything, Grover or B Fitty, that you guys want to share to the audience, feel free to do so.
SayNetwork.io/treasure. Please check out our new Sunken Treasure NFT campaign. I think it's pretty cool. No promises yet for what they'll be used for, but I highly recommend that you guys go out there, get an NFT, and yeah, we'll let you know real soon. And I think the community will be real happy with what's up next.
I'd say maybe one thing before we get to questions, which is that, when we started working on Say back in the very depths of the bear market, it's kind of you're not really sure how it's gonna play out, and I think seeing the amount of support, the amount of people who are following and sort of like joining these spaces and listening and getting engaged, getting involved is really, really cool. And you just don't expect that when you kick things off right at the bottom of the market, right? It's pretty bleak at that stage, but it's looking pretty hopeful from where I'm sitting now.
All right, I'm going to bring up one of the speaker requests. If anyone wants to come up to speak, now's the time to do so. See, we have Rita here in DC and also Valentin. And my boy Jones. If you guys want to come up and ask a question, now's the time to do so. And if you guys like content like this, where we feature blue chip products like Say, my name is Wabi. I host these spaces throughout the week, and feel free to follow us as well as myself here at Because Bitcoin. And make sure to turn on bell notifications so that you can be made aware of when these spaces go live. I'm going to bring up our first speaker. Hey, do you guys see him? I just brought somebody up.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, what's going on, sir? Feel free to go ahead.
Hey, what's
and
going on,
ask your
BP?
question.
Hey, bro. Hey, yo. I wanna say your text coins not work, bro. The fruit. My English is not good. You understand?
The what coin? Sorry, could you just repeat that one more time?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure what happened. But yeah, if anyone wants to come up, now's
Yeah, I think it was a troll.
Yeah. But I guess one question that I have personally, what do you guys think of what had occurred with USDC? Is there anything that can be built on, say, to mitigate that in the future, sort of like a decentralized stable coin? What are your guys' thoughts on that? And is there any way that with the current tech stack on, say, network, if that can be built out, given that you guys are sort of like doing this interchain liquidity across multiple chains and not just like Tendermint specific chains.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we want to build out an ecosystem that's friendly and sort of welcoming to new teams coming to build interesting ideas. I personally think decentralized economies needed decentralized money, and I still think that's true. However, we just have to see sort of like what teams come and design and develop. I mean, right now, I think most of crypto is still pretty reliant on USDT and USDC, which there's some would definitely say is a bit of a weakness if it's reliant on centralized entities to sort of get that moving. But at the same time, we're sort of awaiting to see if there's going to be a suitably liquid decentralized alternative that can be used across a variety of different markets. I think there's a bunch of very interesting assets that people might want to hold on. Say, I mean, we're looking at guys who want to issue sort of their own equivalent of wrapped Bitcoin straight to Say, rather than having double wrapped on Ethereum and then wrapped over here. So they're going to be definitely assets which people might want to use as sort of a way of settling up, or this is kind of like the key point of why do you have USDT in the first place? It's so you could settle up after you've gone through a series of trades. But so far, obviously we're waiting to see how that whole space plays out. I think the decentralized stablecoin question is pretty difficult, considering at least in the US, there's quite a lot of focus on that particular design after a particular algorithmic stablecoin blew up last year. So for sure, hopeful to see new designs appear in that space.
Yeah, to really quickly kind of add to what Grover said here as well, I think that you'll notice for a lot of algorithmic stablecoins, especially, the ability to create new algo stablecoins is very tightly correlated with the sort of ecosystem that you've built out on chain. Anything that wants to do a delta neutral perps kind of based stablecoin requires a perpetual protocol or a perpetual exchange in order to run, right? So I think that really what's going to happen here is that Say is going to have a pretty robust ecosystem of all types of exchanges. And I really think that moving forward, having that kind of optionality will allow people to dream bigger and sort of imagine new designs stablecoins and new ways to create stables. So I really think that on this front, is Say like uniquely optimized to create a stablecoin for ourselves? No, and we will not. I don't think that it's in Say Labs' best interest or in the SEC's best interest for us to be trying to solve that problem directly. But I think that we're going to create infrastructure and we're going to create an ecosystem that really enables people to tackle that problem and enables teams to step up to the bat. So that's what I would say in terms of stables and Say.
But if you want to go ahead and ask your question, feel free to do so. Now's the time.
What's going on, Reddit? Can you hear us?
Hey man, what's up, man? Yeah, I can hear you guys. Yeah, I've been following Say Network for a while now, and I just have a question. Like, where is site located? Like, are you guys like US based or like UK based?
Yeah, so Say Labs is the company we work for, and they're based in the US, and they're one of the contributors to the Say blockchain. The Say Foundation is based outside the US, and yeah, that's sort of the two entities that exist so far. And then obviously anybody's free to come and deploy on the open source permissionless Say blockchain.
But is that not going to be an issue because you guys are proof of stake, right? Proof of stake
Yes,
blockchain. Yeah.
Yep.
So to attract users from the US, I mean, is it not going to be regarded as like a security or?
It's a good question. I mean, we have legal counsel, and so far I don't think there's any precedent to think that there would be a class of security. But again, I guess I'm not a lawyer, but we think that this is the right design to be using, and whether or not we'll just have to see. I think with all crypto, we'll have to see how regulation plays out over the next few years. I know for sure, like SEC has their idea of what the case should be, but obviously like they need to set a precedence before we can come to any conclusions around that. I think Ethereum's in the firing line first. That's what I mean to say.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking because when devs want to build on Sai and they're gonna build like I don't know, like a lending protocol or like a yield platform, whatever, you may get like some issues in the future, like like these other chains that what they're having right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some teams will feel nervous about having a front end that's accessible from the US, regardless of blockchain. I think that's something a lot of teams who are based in the US are certainly thinking about. We won't have a front end necessarily to have that issue, but decentralized front ends is another project that we think would be pretty valuable, just to sort of add some resiliency to the whole process and get around this whole thing of Uniswap Labs doesn't want to host a front end because they're worried about being a US based company.
Yeah, I think he dropped off or something.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah. Payne, if you want to go ahead and ask one last question, now's the time to do so, brother. We just hit the 45-minute mark, and I understand that the audience is quite large right now, but unfortunately, we are, approaching the end mark. So if you enjoyed this content, feel free to follow us here at Because of Bitcoin. Payne, if you want to go ahead, now's the time to do so, brother.
B50, I was gonna ask you real quick. So what was the process to getting the NFT again?
Hi, so go to saynetwork.io/treasure. Right now, you cannot gift yourself NFT, right? The campaign is designed around sort of social coordination and bonding between community members. So what I recommend is hopping onto the Say Discord, start chatting there, find a nice partner that you like, and basically, yeah, free to send each other some NFTs. From there, we're currently in phase 1, which is just the gifting and receiving stage. And phase 2 will be in about 8 days, where we'll be allowing everyone to sort of unbox their treasures. So to kind of give a little bit more context there, the Say Sunken Treasure NFT is a loot box type campaign, and everybody's going to be receiving these basically like treasure chest sort of NFTs, and those have a close and open form. So I think we're really excited for the reveal here at Say when those come to light in the coming days. But otherwise, yeah, saynetwork.io/treasure. Go check it out. We put a lot of love into this.
Thanks so much, man. Yeah, I'm super excited, and I'll definitely be joining the Discord and getting involved with the community because everyone that I've talked to from Say is great, and you guys are killing it.
Thank you for the kind words, sir.
All right, and with that being said, I want to thank everyone in the audience for participating in this Say Network AMA and overall crypto discussion. I want to thank Grover. I want to thank B50. And for the individual that is working behind the Say Network account, excited to connect with you later, brother. And look forward to more Because Bitcoin spaces where we will be covering the Say Network ecosystem. Hopefully over the next month or two, we'll have them on again with an ecosystem product. Grover, thank you so much, man. Always appreciate you, big dog. And just for an announcement, we'll be hosting some of the guys from Bear Chain tomorrow, Saturday or Sunday. Not sure about the time. And if you guys just joined here, we'll have a replay of the space on our YouTube. That's at Because Bitcoin. And look forward to all things Say Network. Feel free to follow them. They're up here on the speaker panel. And make sure to follow Grover, B50, and myself, Payne, and also Because Bitcoin. And look forward to the space, man. And feeling bullish on all things Say, guys. Thank you all so much. Take care. God bless you. Appreciate the time that you guys took to support us here. And yeah, man, things are looking up. Things are looking up. Appreciate you all. God bless you.
Cheers, Webby.
See you guys.
Take care, brother. Thank you guys so much.
The trading current is just math. It's just math. It has a 95.45% hit rate when we deviate outside of CP2 and CN2. All you had to do is recognize that 95% of the time when we get over here, under this blue line, we get some sort of mean reversion. So let's just assume you long right here. 95 out of 100 times, when I buy this, I'm gonna get some sort of bounce. It's just math. Look what would have happened as we move up. Look at the bounce that came after. And now look where we are. If you had just blindly followed the current, you take all emotions out of it, and you say, I'm going to trust the statisticians. You would have bought Dow Jones somewhere down here under 30,000. Depending on how you want to measure it from absolute top to bottom, 20% move. We also have multi-time frame alerts. You don't even have to be at your computer on TradingView. You can ping your phone. Now, the current has some really awesome features, and I would urge you guys to join our Discord to get access to it. We give it away for free as a tool to the community. It's just math. There's really no need to overcomplicate things, not even in the slightest.